That's right. All about home construction here on WATA and on the podcast, all about home construction. Good morning, Mr. Randy Blake. Happy Saturday to you.
Happy Saturday to you, Terry.
That's it. We're recording this on Thursday, before the storm coming in because we're expecting another 3 to 8 inches, perhaps, at the
Yeah,
time of this
on top of
recording.
this
So
ice. How about that?
yeah, we'll see. Maybe we need to do a lottery ticket fundraiser, raffle fundraiser, and where we are, like the whole cow bingo thing, and you pick a spot, and when the cow poops on the square, you win. Maybe we should do that with the snow, and we'll round it up to the quarter inch. So, um, but I don't know that anyone's going to win at that rate. So who knows?
Yeah,
So
I need to make a service announcement.
go for it.
Uh, we did cancel the Valentine's meal,
Okay.
our surf and turf. So,
Sure. Hate to hear that, but I totally understand, especially with the way the winter's going this year. Um,
well, you know, I don't know what the weather's going to bring, but I'd rather people be safe.
exactly, exactly. So, yeah, that's heartbreaking, but hey, you know what? That just means there'll be time for another one sometime. So,
But
well,
we'll be having a chili cook-off for
ooh,
Super Bowl. So if people want to enter a chili meal,
yeah,
come on out.
okay,
And my wife has found the greatest thing for pool players.
yeah.
Ramba pool with your vacuum cleaner.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They put $5 on the ball,
Nice. That's so
and
cool.
so that went over pretty good
Nice.
here for the Christmas party.
That's really cool. Good fun. Raising money for the VFW. I love it.
Well, it did good.
That's really cool.
That we first time we did it was at the Christmas party.
Nice. All right. Well, there you go. Look forward to that Super Bowl Sunday, as we hopefully watch the Patriots lose another game.
No, it's
Yeah,
going to be Seahawks.
that's what I'm saying. I want Patriots to lose another game. I don't want them to win. I want them to lose. So anyway, that's gonna be my
Well, let's
prediction.
just hope it's a good game. How about that?
Yeah, or by like good game, you mean 100 to nothing, and the Patriots lose. That's a good game.
Well, no, I'd like a little closer than that. Yeah, those are both pretty good games.
Yeah, I was talking, Carson used to come on the show. He used to love when he was real little, he loved the Seahawks. And then as he got to be teen years, he loved the Patriots. And I was like, who are you going to pull for? And he never even texted me back. You believe that?
Said, Dad, you should have knew who I wanted.
Yeah, I know. I know. So anyway, but anyway, let's jump back into it all about home construction here as we look and talk a little bit about our topic. And that is one that we enjoy a lot. We've talked a lot about solar power and solar power, no matter what political issues you have with it, solar power is a solid power source. You can definitely run things off of solar power. I know, and we're I don't want to talk for you, but I know we've talked about it in the past. Like we're both of us enjoy solar powers. I think it's the cost, but I know you've
I'm a
gotten some stuff.
solar,
Um,
wind, and water.
yeah, so it's pretty cool, but there's a lot of confusion out there, a lot of myths out there as well. And we ran across this article. We've read across it before, but it came out in April. We brought it back up from Blue Ridge Energy, our local energy partner here in the High Country. And
Yep.
they had this, and it just made us think like maybe this would be a good topic. And so we've got some other myths, just the truth and myths about solar power.
Yep. And it's very important because the start of our show talked about people
Yep.
using equipment and stuff to stay warm.
Hmm.
Well, it's about solar. You solar shuts off
Right.
when the power lines go down. Your solar panels shut off.
See that's one of the things that we worry about. So there's different ways to hook it up, but generally speaking, especially in mainstream society, if you will, when you hook up solar panels to your house, they're hooked up to the grid, and so they feed the grid as well. And that's how you get the tax credits and breaks and stuff, and
That's right.
where the energy department's paying you that kind of
They
thing.
put 2 meters on your house.
Yeah,
All right, one for your in line, one for your out line.
exactly. Yeah,
But they are able to monitor how much is going off.
yeah.
And our meter bases now are all computerized. So when the power goes off,
Yep,
they're
does
off.
not exactly. So that's where, for me, spending the extra money we were just talking about generators. You can spend money and hook up a battery bank system, but that's not cheap. That's adding a lot of cost to it. And essentially what you're doing is you're similar to a generator, right? Like you're banking that
Yeah,
power for when you need it, when the power goes off. And to me, that cost aside, that's the way to go, but that's not a cheap thing. And so generally speaking here, with that broad paintbrush, most people who, put on solar panels on their house, when the power goes out, that grid is down.
that's it. And another thing too is your inverter, on demand inverters,
Right.
plug and play inverters, they will actually not allow the solar panels to charge into the electric system either if you haven't plugged directly into the fuse box.
Right.
So the electricity goes outside, goes down, they go down too.
Yeah. So again, without that backup generator or that backup battery backup, when it's down, it's down. Um,
In their system, it plainly says system that is combined with a generator can supply electricity to your home. Without battery backup or a generator, solar panels alone will not provide power during a power outage.
right. Exactly. So that's to me is the one negative for it. Not to start us off on a negative, um, it, but also it may not be a negative, right? Like for instance, if you live in town and you've not, we just went through a hurricane a year ago. We went through a big ice storm. If you don't lose power very often, and you're not looking at it as a quote generator, then that's an added cost that you don't need. In other words, so maybe it's still a viable situation. Um, and I think that's part of the thing. I mean, to be kind of upfront and honest, is like I'm looking at it as I also want to use it as a quote generator, right? Um,
Well, I got involved with a generator this fall.
right.
I didn't actually pull the permit on it, but it was for one of our clients that we did their house. We CO'd in 2008. And they've talked about it over the years, and
Mhm.
which they wanted to be able to run their well, which their well was 150 foot from the house. So,
Right.
you have to have a line that will run that far. But their power was coming out of their barn.
Yeah.
It was the most goofiest situation because the previous owner, the house is dedicated and the well was dedicated to the house, but the power come out of the barn.
It's crazy.
So they 2 meter cans. So they actually eliminated the meter can.
Right.
And but I learned a lot about these generators.
That's cool.
They
That's
can't
cool.
they can't be around it. We didn't know anything about it. The building inspector come up and said, well, you have your intake for your furnace and you have your Renai hot water exhaust and intake beside your furnace.
Right.
Well, the way the Generac was, we had to install it. The exhaust was going to flow into the intakes on the furnace and the Renai.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
So,
Yeah.
so I got a good lesson about it. Also, it plainly says it's got to be so far away from any open windows. It's 5 foot away from anything like the Generac or the
But
Renai
yeah.
or the furnace. But there was a porch roof above it.
Yeah.
And when we did the house, we put vented soffit on
Uh-oh.
it. But we had to go back and take all the vented soffit out. Then we had to put
Close
closure
it back up.
in the roof to make sure to try to keep any exhaust from
Yeah.
getting up in the soffit. The
Yeah.
good thing about it was a room that was totally dedicated on its own. There was
Nice.
no heat from inside the house because you had to go through a door, an exterior door to get into the little room.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Cool.
So before you invest in them, do your homework on what you have to have. So you
Exactly. Yeah.
like we had to go back and move this one out because I didn't know nothing about it. We were just putting the generator on the property,
Right.
and then the electrician couldn't move the generator by himself, so we
Sure.
had to go back and move.
That's cool. All right, going back into solar power. The myth one, the solar doesn't work if it's cloudy or cold. Well, solar works on light, not heat. So as long as it has light, not cloudy, the heat doesn't affect the panels itself. And so it can work in here in the mountains is what I'm trying to say. With the cold, as long as you have light. So I thought that
Yeah,
was a good one.
well, it'll generate power if as long as it's clean.
Yep, exactly. Myth number whatever is next. With a home solar, I won't receive a power bill, or my power bill will be like a small amount a month, and that is a little bit of a fact. A
Yeah.
little bit.
Well,
You
it
still
is.
receive it, right? You get a power bill, but if you're hooked up to the grid,
They buy it back.
you yeah, and you may get a smaller power bill. So or no
I,
bill
I
if you
do.
use
I do
less
not
than
know what they uh, pay back, but it's not like your kilowatt that you buy
right.
off them is
It's
more
not
than what
equal
they pay.
exactly. Yeah.
And because we actually have two veterans at the VFW, both of them have solar panels on their roof.
Yeah.
And uh, I hadn't talked to Dave about it in a while because he was really frustrated during the lane when the power went out because he could not use his solar panels because of what we talked about right there, the way it is put into the grid system.
Right. Well,
Tom was the same way.
yeah, and that goes back to the next myth too, is that you'll receive a monthly check from your power company, and that really just depends on the situation. You know how much you're using the net. In other words,
And how
yeah,
much they're buying.
exactly.
Tom Tom's telling me his electric bill on his house is about 55 a month.
Okay,
So, so
so
that's
it's cutting it down significant, even when you are
yeah,
paying. That's cool.
and it's an older home too. So just think if it was a modern home.
Yeah, that's nice.
But I don't know what size system he has on his
Got you.
house.
Got you. Okay, with the going with the solar homes here, a myth: government programs will allow me to get home solar for free. Fact or fiction?
I don't know. Let's see. The idea is completely free solar is misleading.
Yep, exactly.
And but there
There,
is, but you know, a lot of those companies that did that have gone out of business, believe it or
right,
not.
right. There is programs, government programs, and incentives that help reduce the cost, especially for those low income households. So you know there's some residential clean energy credits, but it depends on the situation. So it's a little misleading on that one, for sure, for sure.
And
Uh,
yeah, and when you when you get involved with these things,
yeah,
the energy goes to them that you recover from your
yeah,
solar panels.
exactly.
There's what they charge per month. Whatever's left over goes against your electric bill.
Yep, exactly, exactly. So
And
cool.
but as I said, a lot of those companies went out of business.
They did. Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll tell you what, let's take another break and we'll come right back right after this. Thanks for listening to us. All about home construction. That's right. All about home construction here in WATA and on the podcast, all about home construction. Good morning, Mr. Randy.
Morning to you, Terry, and everybody out there.
That's it. We're recording this actually in prep for another snowstorm. 2 weeks in a row, man.
Well, you know, I was at one of my jobs today, and on the back of the building, the ice was so thick that it looked like a waterfall coming down the steps.
Yep. Crazy. I mean, I've seen I got pretty lucky at my house. You know, we definitely got some ice, but it's manageable. But I've seen some pictures. It looks like, I mean, seriously looks like skating rinks out there. Thick
Yeah.
layers of ice. People that have, chunks of ice an inch thick, they've chunked up in their driveway.
Well, you know, parts of the county got more snow than we did. We probably didn't get, but maybe at the most 3 inches.
Yeah, it snowed here a little bit. And then kind of turned over to that ice. And not a lot of snow. I mean, it came a little snow after, but measurable
Yeah.
wise, I couldn't really measure any snow.
Well,
It
we
was
had
nice.
friends that lived in Nashville.
Hmm.
They got hit
Oh,
pretty hard.
that the western part of the state of Tennessee for sure. It has
And
gotten hit.
look at south all the way,
Hmm.
you know, the southern states.
Yeah, for sure.
I forgot to
So
call Danny this week to see how much they got in Atlanta.
yeah. So
He's a friend. He's a friend of mine down there that I deal with metal and stuff.
right. Yeah.
So generally, as a rule of thumb, if Atlanta's getting adverse weather, and I can call him, I know within 8 hours we're going to get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've got a friend that was in eastern part of Atlanta, and she said she didn't get any or really nothing. No, you know, I don't know how long she had been down there because she was up here and went down. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So and the thing is, it came a little bit later than originally planned.
Yeah.
We could have we could have done the show live on Saturday morning because it was after the showtime when it started really coming down. But leading up to it, especially when you hear like 12 inches or whatever that was originally predicted, it gets a little scary. So,
Well, it
and
does.
that's,
And I can't believe they missed it the way
I
they
know,
missed it.
I know for
Now,
sure.
now we'll have to see if we're really going to get this
Well,
snow cyclone
that's
or
what they're saying. Yeah. And then, another, I mean, it depends on where you're at in the high country. We could see another 6 to 12 inches again, maybe. I mean, I saw one report that said that much. But, I don't,
Nationals 3 to 8. So,
yeah, that's where I was
but
kind of basing my normal 3 to 8 on, was what so I don't know. Um, you hate it for them. You hate it for the meteorologist for sure. But they're, it's certainly when you get these big storms like this that don't pan out what they say, it makes everyone a little leery of believing them next time.
well,
So
Mother Nature at her finest.
that's it. That's it. And so it's crazy. Everyone's buying generators last week. I suspect lots of people are going back out and buying generators again today and tomorrow, leading up into this Saturday morning broadcast. So,
Well, let's just remember to mention one thing. If your power goes out, turn your main breaker off. If you're going to plug your generator in,
yep.
you might save a lineman's life.
Well, that's it. And, and you don't know, you don't realize that, again, we've said it before. The transformers kind of work both ways. And what the power that comes off the line into your house reduces it. But if you have a generator hooked up, it increases it as it goes back into the line. And so you want to kill that connection for sure. Otherwise, yeah, you can, you can injure someone that's working on the power lines because they
Yep.
don't know that it's that, they don't know that it's going to be high. Um, I mean, I know they got safety precautions, but why take that risk? And so,
Well, when they're in a hurry, you know,
yeah,
I'd say that it's
right,
just
yeah,
pretty rough on 'em.
exactly. And so, just to remember that. Another thing um, that I've been reading a lot about, and you had mentioned, for instance, Nashville getting hit. I was watching or reading a news headline that was talking about Vanderbilt University, the medical center, the children's hospital there, how they were treating a lot of children with carbon monoxide poisoning because they ran
Yep,
something
yep.
like generators or a
Heard that
propane
quite a
heater.
bit,
Yeah,
even here in
um,
North Carolina.
exactly. But that was that one particular article I was reading was talking about Vanderbilt, and it was like, yeah, that a lot of people are running propane heaters, and or I mean, you never want to run a generator inside, uh,
No.
but even
Well,
the heaters that are rated for indoors could get off some carbon monoxide. So get a battery powered detector and keep it close to the
yes,
heater.
because, I have a Mr. Heater that has about
Yep.
a 10-inch heater unit that goes on
Mm-hmm.
a 1 gallon, 1 pound tanker goes on a 20. Well, believe it or not, it puts out tremendous great heat, but you don't realize how much oxygen it
It
takes out of
sucks.
your
Exactly.
house.
Exactly. We got just for backup. I didn't have to use it, knock on wood. But I got one of the Mr. Buddy heaters that's the big trash can looking ones that put out like 30,000 BTUs rated for indoors. And yeah, but yeah, that's the reason. So we went ahead and got a carbon monoxide detector and actually got one that it does both carbon and smoke just because in the kitchen here we didn't have one. And so I went ahead and put it there, and that's where we're going to keep the heater if we need it. Um,
Well, that's what we
and
do.
it's
We
battery
set
powered.
if we build a new house, it's automatic
Mhm.
or a remodel. Like when we got them,
Yep.
carbon monoxide and regular smoke detector in
Yep.
one, they're all hardwired.
Yep. And
And
then
if you can't get them, code calls for them to be hardwired.
right.
That was a hard thing that we used to battle, and you can't hardwire them the way that they want you to hardwire them in all remodels.
Got you.
And
Well, I
so,
mean, that's the thing. Like, for instance, my house, like we're not remodeling, and so we're stuck with the battery powered. Now, the one that I bought, um, it runs. It says it has an internal battery. You don't change it out. It's a 10-year guaranteed battery.
Yeah.
You're supposed to, and
Isn't
what
it
you're supposed to
amazing how
change it out
they've
before
gone
that. Yeah,
from 1 year to 5 year to 10 year?
exactly. So we'll see how it goes. One thing it was, we like to talk about on this show about like reading the warranties and stuff. And one thing that caught my eye on this is it said you're supposed to check it weekly. Um, and I
Really?
thought, yeah, and I thought, that's their out, I guess, if something goes wrong. But yeah, you're supposed to press the button weekly, it says, and I thought that was interesting because most people are maybe
Well, would
once
you
a
not
year.
think that that would lose a
I
little of the energy in the battery?
That's what I thought because mine talks to me. It talks. I've got it programmed. It like tells me the kitchen is, smoke in the kitchen, and beep beep beep, and then tells me get out, smoke in the kitchen, or
Is
carbon
that is
monoxide,
that
whatever.
is that part of your Google?
This one's not. No, I didn't want to rely on Wi-Fi, being down. So I just got uh, everybody was running low on them, and so I just got kind of the cheaper one they had at the time, $75 or something. That had both, smoke and carbon monoxide. It just happened
Well,
to talk, which is kind of cool.
the life you save might be yourself.
Well, that's it, and we're talking about our house, and Leslie and I were talking. I was like, it's like I don't want to spend. Granted, you can get cheaper ones. Don't misunderstand. But I said, look, I didn't want to spend $75 on a detector, but I was like, no, that's pocket change when you talk about, we have a house full of teenagers, living in the house, and we're living in the house, and you never know, and because you can't smell carbon monoxide, so
No, you
uh,
cannot.
$75 is nothing, for saving the life, and yeah, like you said, it's a drop
Well,
in the bucket, not even
I
worth
heat
it.
with 100-pound tanks,
Mm-hmm.
and this year they've not had any methane in it.
Right,
So heater just burns. Then all of a sudden you look over,
yeah,
it's out.
yeah,
The good thing is that it went out in the afternoon, so I was able to go out and change it instead of
sure,
most of the time
in the middle of the
it runs
night.
out 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. But this is the first time in years that I've had my propane regulator freeze up.
Wow,
And
yeah, I had a friend who's froze up as well, and he was talking about he went outside and poured hot water on it, and I was like, I don't know if that's
it
a safe
works.
thing. I mean, I was curious the safest way to do that because I mean I know hot water will melt it, but is that thermal shock okay? Is it not enough thermal
It don't
shock?
hurt it, but
Okay,
believe it or not, the best thing is a hair dryer.
right. Well, that was
If you
my thought. Use a hair
if
dryer.
you can get to it,
Uh,
and extreme
yeah,
cases in the past, uh, we've even used a propane torch,
yeah,
but not a direct
yeah.
on
You're
it,
just getting the
indirect.
residual heat. Yeah,
And but yeah, I went out. The regulator had about a 1/4 inch of ice on it, and I took my wrench that I had and I pecked it and beat the ice off. Then I changed it from one tank to another tank, even though it was
right.
full. The newer tank had more in it, so it would push it out faster.
Exactly. Yep.
And then that afternoon it got to 36 degrees, so it pushed the
Yeah.
moisture out of the regulator.
Yeah. No, that
And
makes a difference.
we've not had any trouble with it since.
Nice. Well, we got the 20-gallon or 20-pound tanks, and got like three or four of them full, and plus the one on the Blackstone. So I think I'm set for a while. Until Carson gets home and fires up that new Forge he got for Christmas and uses all my propane. So uh, should be good. Should be good to go there. Uh, but yeah, just again, just be cautious when if you're dealing with generators or some kind of propane in your house. Another one, is a lot of people don't burn wood anymore, but they have a fireplace. And I know some people in this. I was reading again, Facebook friends, and they were talking about smoke in their house from the chimney. And what it is they just never used the chimney, and the power went out, so they started a fire in the fireplace, but it was stopped up from swallows or whatever, and
Could
so
be, yes.
yeah, and so the smoke was coming back in. Luckily they put it out and didn't have any more issues. But if you've not had that chimney inspected and cleaned out this season, then you don't need to be burning anything in it. So,
Well, I'm pretty fortunate. I mean, we've not used it in years, but my flue is like a 12 by 18
yeah,
flue.
you got a huge
So I
flue,
have a
right?
big flue
Yeah,
instead of an 8 or a 10-inch
yeah,
flue. And because I've been debating on whether when the wind blows strong, I can hear the damper in my
Right.
butt flap.
Yeah.
So I know that there's plenty of air coming down to it.
Sure.
And,
Sure.
but I was thinking about right before this storm, I was going, I need to put a concrete block up there and save some of the heat that
Just
I'm
to
losing
keep
up
it.
my chimney
Yeah. Not a bad
because
idea.
of because of the vacuum
Yeah.
that's sucking it back up.
Not a bad idea. So, all right. Well, one more concern that I have before we get into our first break here when we're talking about bad weather, and that is I've seen again lots of people with this last storm that we got in the high country, lots of ice instead of snow. That ice is sticking around. It's melting. It's going back on the driveways and stuff. And lots of people are
Yep.
putting salt on gravel driveways. And we've talked about it many times on the show. Just don't do it. I know it's a quick fix. It seems like it works, but you're asking for lots of trouble down the road.
Well, you could probably get away with it if you had the road mat under your gravel.
Right.
But how many people do
But
you know on their personal driveways put road
That's
mat under?
yeah, that's the problem. All you're going to do is just when it thaws out, especially the springtime, you're just going to make a big soupy mess, and you're going to spend thousands of dollars of getting gravel in to fix that
And
50-pound bag of salt did.
and sometimes it takes years to get your driveway
Yeah.
back.
I've been there, done that. So learn from my experience. You're better off just trying to chop it up. I know it's tough work, but try something like sand, and just to get some traction over it.
Well, that's
I've
what we got out here at the VFW.
Yeah,
Somebody put Chad on it,
yep.
and so you can walk on it.
I've heard I've heard people talk about calcium. I'm not sure what that does to dirt either, so I don't want to recommend it without trying it. But
Well, they do
yep,
make it fertilize. And I don't know
yeah,
how good that does, but fertilize that bag of fertilize. I think we paid $19 for a bag just
mhm,
for to melt.
yeah. Kitty litter and sand though would be, but just don't. I know you want to, but don't put salt on gravel. You'll regret it later. So, yeah. I'll tell you what,
Yep.
Randy, let's take our first break, and that way we can come back and jump into our topic here, all about home construction. Thanks for listening to us. Hope everyone's staying warm. There we go. That's right, all about home construction here on WATA. Thanks for listening to us. And Randy Blake with you on a lovely Saturday morning broadcast. But we are recording this before the storm when Randy is predicting another 12 inches of snow, right?
All right, 3 to 8.
All
Come
right,
on now.
3 to 8. We'll see what happens. And but anyway, no, it's hope everyone's
Well,
out there being safe and staying warm.
after they blew it last weekend, we'll probably get to 2 foot this
I
weekend.
know, I know. That's what I'm thinking. It's like, oh no, it's just gonna be a dusty now, but then we'll hit the 2 foot mark. So who knows? But just be prepared for it, and I think that's about all we can do, right?
Yep.
So anyway, all about home construction here, and again, don't forget about the podcast, all about home construction, and share that with some friends.
Thank
Um,
y'all
that's
for
it.
listening to us.
That's a lot. And talking a little bit about solar power and just exposing some myths and shedding some light on that. Here's another one. So solar power, Randy, is brand new, is only for brand new homes or expensive homes. And that's not true.
No, it's not.
You can install solar on mobile homes and barns and garages and on older homes as well.
Like I say, I believe in it, still believe in it. Now, there is no tax credits while we was off the air.
Right.
I looked that up. But I believe it's going to help.
Yeah.
I'm a kid that still believes in solar, wind, and like I said, hydro.
Right. Right.
And but one of the veterans here, his house is a 60 model house, and they put solar on.
Right. I mean, it really the conditions really depend more on the roof.
The roof load. You're
Yeah,
correct right there.
yeah,
Your rafter system.
yeah. When that could
And
be a new house or an old house, it's the condition of your roof really that dictates if you can have it.
and something else people need to think about is how old are your shingles?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to put a $25,000. Now I'm just throwing this number out. Okay.
Sure.
System on your house, and then turn around. You got to take them back up to replace your shingles in 5 years.
Yeah. Well,
they do create heat.
Yep. Again, I'm not talking about electricity, but growing up, my parents had the passive solar to heat the hot water. And I can remember, I mean, it's an older system, doesn't really work anymore, but I can remember when they changed out the shingles and then when they put the metal roof on, they had to take things apart and add to it. I just remember the headache that it was causing. And that was, an older antiquated system, but but again, it doesn't, if done correctly, it's not going to damage your roof or anything like that.
No.
And so
Well, those
that's,
systems are totally different
yeah,
than
exactly. Yeah.
these
Because,
solar systems
yeah,
because, I mean, when you put that passive solar system on, that's for your hot water,
exactly.
and it
That's, yeah,
and it, your shingles are laid to it. They're flashed to it. They got head flashing above so the water can't run under.
yeah.
And it's a box.
Yep. And they never had any problems. I mean, it's a 35, 40-year-old system, like I said, it doesn't work now, but the part of the system's still up there and they've not had any major leaks or anything like that through the years. Now, occasionally now again, there's this difference, water. Occasionally they've had some pipe issues in the actual solar, but now that we're doing electricity, that's not an issue, right? So that's pretty cool. So
Well,
again, yep, go ahead.
the it depends on your water on that system too.
Right.
The acidity of it,
Yep, exactly. Yeah,
because certain parts of Watauga County, copper water lines don't last no time at all.
exactly.
And I don't think you could really use PEX in that system either.
I wouldn't think so. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, theirs is an older, antiquated, 30-something-year-old system. So, anyway, okay. What about this one? Solar is maintenance heavy. You got to take a lot of work to get the solar working. Well, not really, because there's nothing that moves, right?
No, it's not. The biggest thing probably is uh, birds.
Yeah, keeping it clean.
Yeah,
Now,
because once it
yeah,
gets a film, it'll lose a little. I
yeah.
don't know how much it's going to lose, but you might
Well,
have to
yeah.
wash it from time to
This
time.
is saying that for the most part, that rain usually keeps it clean. That's enough to rely on. So for the most part, there's not a lot of work to do. And occasionally you want to inspect your inverter, maybe replace it after several years. But for the most part, there's no maintenance to it. I think that's pretty
Well,
cool.
one thing that people's that question right there is because you're going to put your solar panels in full light.
Right.
Okay. So anything that gets on it is probably going to be dust or pollen,
Right. Right.
and the rain is going to wash it
Wash
off.
it off. Yeah.
It's not
Exactly.
going to be in a shady area where you spend all this money and it's not going to produce energy and it's
Yeah.
going to mold over.
Exactly. Exactly. So, yeah. Okay. What about this one? My house roof or my property is perfectly situated for solar.
Not necessarily,
It's
because
yeah,
just because you think it is, don't mean. Do you know how you take your compass out there and look and see how your house is oriented?
exactly. You got to go south. Lots of locations in our kind of the high country, right? Sure have potential. But it's those key factors that make it ideal for that specific spot. Roof pitch somewhat matters. You can
Yes,
you
it
can
does.
you can adjust the pitch of the panels, but the roof pitch. If you have an optimal roof pitch, the better off you are. But it depends on the direct sunlight, how much shade you're getting, and again, like just things like topography. Maybe yeah, you're fine, you can see the sky, but when the sun sets after 2 o'clock, that mountain blocks it, that you don't think about, that's 10 miles away. um that kind of thing. And so it's really a case by case
I can't think of what
thing.
that unit's. I'm trying to find it.
Yeah.
But uh, I remember the first time I helped put solar panels on. We was putting the metal roof on because the guy didn't want shingles under it, and that's the reason I brought that up.
Right.
And uh, but what they did was they brought a unit up on the roof,
Mhm.
and you have to set it at a specific location, and you have to level it, and it will tell you how much sun you get for every month of the year.
That's really cool, just doing math, I guess. That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's cool.
and uh, and it was great because it would just see the highs and lows of what it is, and
Hmm. That's really cool. I love
but
it. I love it.
I can't remember what it's called. I'll have to do some research. But yeah, if you're an electrician that's going to put solar panels on, you have one of these units.
That's cool. That's cool.
And another thing that we did too is we had to locate the rafters, which is pretty easy in this house because they were timbers.
Yeah.
And we put the metal roof on, located the rafters, put the metal tracking down. The electrician took care of hauling the panels up, doing the wiring and everything for the house.
Right. That's cool. That's cool. All right. Well, how about this next myth here? Solar will hurt your home's resale value. What do you know about that?
I don't believe that.
No,
Uh,
there's actually studies shown, Randy, that shows that in certain places that homes actually sell faster and for more with solar. So I guess it depends
Except in
on the
Watauga
location.
County,
Yeah.
after what I went through with insurance is turning me down for a metal roof,
Yeah.
and then turn around, another insurance company turned me down because I had solar panels on my roof.
Right.
And I'm thinking they just want to get away from, they just want to get out of North Carolina is what
Sure.
they want to do.
Sure. Yeah. I get you on that. Um, okay. The next myth is that solar panels don't last very long.
No, matter of fact, when solar panels first come out in the energy crunch at the 70s,
Yeah.
they are some of them still alive today. And they predicted they would only produce about 8%
Yeah.
electricity. And some of them are actually producing 14% today.
That's better. That's awesome. Well, most panels that you buy commercially today are rated from 25 to 30 years. That seems to be a good average of what they're rated for warranties.
Yep.
Um,
The
so, you
only
know,
time you'd ever have anything to fail is, and some of them are so thick that I don't think hail would bust them,
mhm.
but some of them would bust from
A
hail.
tree falling on stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Like just physically tearing it up. Yeah. Nope. I agree. I agree. So,
And I just like it. I mean, but it's without the tax credit, solar's going to get expensive,
right. I agree. I agree on that.
and you got
Um,
to make sure that you understand what your payoff is going to be on that product.
yeah.
You know, in
Right.
2010, when we were getting so big into energy and
Yeah.
stuff, an average 4 or 5 kW system was right at 24,000.
Yeah.
So they were expecting to pay off for 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people was going to keep their house for 10 years? Because, you know, most
Exactly.
people in the high country
Yeah.
that come up here for recreational purposes generally only keep their house 5 years.
Right. Yeah. So that brings up the question then, right? Is solar worth it? Well, it depends on your power bill already, right? Like that comes off that payoff. Like if you already have an efficient house with a lower power bill, if saving money on the long run is guiding you on this, if you're already energy efficient, you're probably not going to pay it off quickly. Um, as someone whose house is less efficient.
Correct. To give you an idea, the panels are tested for 1 inch hail.
Okay.
So, you know, 1 inch hail's pretty, I don't know the weight of it, but that's enough to scare the dickens out of you if you get
Yeah.
caught out in it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So
Hail larger than 1 3/4 inches can cause significant damage.
okay. It's crazy. So yeah, so that's the key for sure. All
You know,
right.
one thing I don't talk much about solar panels, though, fixed panels,
Yeah.
is your average peak of power is about 5.2 hours. Used to be 5.2 hours. But, you know, every 4 or 5 years, the panels get even better. You
Right.
know, we even have solar panels now that produce electricity from the reflection of it, sun going through and hitting metal behind it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that sounds goofy, but uh, the product that the solar cells set on their self is what kept the sun from going all the way through to the roof below.
Right. Yeah.
I got to the point that I couldn't afford solar panels, so I bought the kit to learn how to build them.
Sure. Sure.
And the solar panels was cheap. The paper that goes underneath them is expensive.
Yeah. Well, it's like everything else, right? It's the installation and figuring it out.
Yeah, yeah.
So okay, what about this one? Solar panels required constant cleaning. We've kind of talked about that one already. Again, for the most part, that rain does a good job. There's minimal cleaning.
Yeah,
In the,
most time, like I said, it's going to be dust or pollen.
yeah, yeah,
You know, if you got a farmer rolling or doing processing hay beside your house, you might get a little dust on it from the hay.
Right. Right.
And definitely in the fall, we're going, spring, you'll get pollen. Depends if you're around a lot of pine trees. How about that? Have you ever seen
Sure.
pine trees with the
Yeah.
yellow pollen
With
blow?
this, the pollen and then the sap that seems to just ooze from them sometimes. Yeah, no, that totally. I mean, anyone that's ever parked their car underneath a pine tree, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're going to put solar panels on, you want your house.
exactly.
You're going to, if you want to be green, there's two ways of being green.
Yeah,
You want to plant trees to keep your house cool, or you're going to remove the trees to keep the energy bill low.
yeah, you're right. You can't have both on those points for sure.
And there's got to be a trade-off on what you want.
Right.
And one of the things that they put on there was your expectations on how much money you were going to spend.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because not all solar panels are created even.
Hmm.
Some companies, to give you an idea, I could have bought 500-watt solar panels in December for $195 a piece.
Okay.
That's pretty cheap. Okay. But then you turn around and you want to put that inverter to it, and that inverter might cost you 3,500.
Right.
All right. And you as a homeowner, oh, I'm going to do DIY. Legally can't do that yourself.
Yeah. Exactly.
Not even Randy Blake can do that legally.
Yeah, that's why we have friends like Landon Pennington's been on the show before. There's some people around, and that's why they're around, right? It's because
Yeah.
that's their business for sure. Um,
And those are people that do that for a living that get you the most bang for your buck.
exactly, exactly. So, and they know too. They're in the loop and they understand more about these tax credits and things, but also the leasing. You can finance and lease the equipment as well. And so it sort of depends on your situation. Again, what you use, what you consume versus what you produce, and so there's a lot of math that kind of is so individual on that, for
And,
sure.
and if you see a lot of you've seen a lot of houses in California
Yeah,
that had a whole roof full of panels. Okay.
right,
That was because the way the house was oriented, that was the size of the house, the roof, the length of the rafters, the width of the house. A lot of our houses aren't near that big here
right, exactly, exactly.
because you take a 28-foot wide ranch, you know, one layer or one level, and you're looking at a 15-year or a
Yeah,
15-foot rafter system on. See
yeah,
what I'm getting at?
exactly. And yeah, a big flat ranch style house with a lot more square footage of roofing, even if it's the same amount of living square foot, right? You're going to have more options too. So yeah. Okay. So that leads me to this one, and that is, especially here in the mountains, right? Is there's different ways. So we typically think of putting them on the roofs, but you can mount them on brackets and things. And so there's actually some systems in the county where they're kind of standalone, I guess you would say.
Yeah. And but there again, if you're going to make them standalone, you're going to have to get an engineer to help you.
Right. Because because that brings up the next question is maintenance, not necessarily maintenance, but that is will they hold up? And well, they got to hold up to storms and snow and all the
Well, think
stuff.
about this. If you go to Walmart parking lot,
Yeah.
you got those street lights that's sitting on a 60-foot pole
Uh-huh.
on a 3-foot column, and that 3-foot column sticking out of the ground 3 feet. So it's probably 6 to 8 feet underground,
Yeah.
excuse me, to keep that pole from falling over.
Sure.
I never thought about that because
Yeah.
we did Gino's restaurant and we used fiberglass poles.
Mm-hmm.
They were 30 foot and we 2 foot out of the ground, and we still had to go 6 foot down and then 2 foot around.
Wow.
And never thought anything about it until I was sitting out there in about a 50-mile-an-hour wind
You
watching them
see it
poles
move.
move.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's that micro vibration that caused things to fail.
Yeah. So that's it. And so, if you do that system, especially here in the mountains, where maybe you can't put it on your roof, right? Is Yeah. Um, so yeah, that's interesting.
It
Um,
is. And
so
it's not going away,
yeah,
regardless.
right. Well, okay. So again, these things are tested and rated for wind and hail and snow. So it, overall, they're going to hold up pretty well. I mean, they're more durable than you sort of assume.
Yes, they are. If you ever picked one up, they're heavier than you
Yeah.
think.
And I know people, again, going back to the hurricane, I know people who had them on their house and they weren't damaged compared, I mean, the house may have been damaged, but it didn't just necessarily mean that the panels were damaged.
Correct.
It was, in other words, it went, the few people I know, it seemed to go along with more of this house than it did the solar panels. In other words, there weren't houses that were fine and just solar panels tore up. Uh,
Correct. Yeah, I agree with you there.
so, so I think that's worth mentioning, for sure. Okay, this is another one here. More of the people who are thinking more serious and stuff, and that is leasing your land for a solar farm. Now, I know there's lots of ins and outs on the solar farm and what you can and can't do. Don't want to get in the weeds there, but just in general, right? You can. I mean, it's possible to rent it out and lease your land out, to create a little bit of income.
Well, I
But
watched Duke Energy on that. They did a special on that.
yeah,
And they were going to farmers into Piedmont. And what they were doing is they were leasing their farms. They were cattle
mm-hmm.
farmers. But you can't have cattle and you can't
The
have
cattle like to
donkeys
rub on everything, right?
and you can't have goats.
Yeah,
So they had to switch over to animals that would not jump.
like sheep, I guess.
Sheep and hogs won't
Yeah,
jump. A goat, first thing a goat wants to do is go
they're
to the
gonna be on
highest
top
place.
of that. You bet. Yeah.
Yeah. And is exactly what you said there with about cattle.
Mm-hmm.
Cattle want to rub they'll get licey and they'll rub anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
And because you go down 220, well, Interstate 73, 74,
Yeah.
from Ashboro to Rockingham, and there's acres and
Yeah.
acres of solar
There's
panels.
there's even one in well, I guess that I don't know where the line is, but either Surrey County or Yadkin County, right there on the county near the county line between the two, on 77. There's one that sets up you it you the woods block it, the trees block it, but it sets up in the field over there. If you're going north up to the right, near the county line there. I think it's Yadkin County, but it's pretty close to Elkin there.
Well, there's more solar farms out there than people
Yeah,
realize.
yeah,
You can come off the backside of Beach Mountain from Buckeye Lake and look over there on the mountain.
and see that. Yeah,
Or, and there's one there in Avery County.
yeah. So
I couldn't tell you how to get to it, but I've seen it 3 or 4 times.
yeah. But I will say that, here in the high country, the what I'm reading right now is they're not actively looking for land to lease. I don't want to like get all people all like, feathers ruffled. We're not saying that they're trying to or anything like that. We're just saying it's possible. And for some people it's good, for some people it's not. Um,
It is. And I watched the governor of West Virginia, and he said, we'd have died up there in West Virginia if we had to depend on solar and wind
yeah.
due to the ice.
Sure. Sure. I mean, right. I mean, it's not the technology is great, but the technology does not allow you to. I mean, if you live off the grid, right, and your solar is your only energy source, you live a completely different lifestyle. Is it possible? Sure, but you living off the grid, relying on something like solar and wind only, is you don't live the same lifestyle. So can you do it? Sure, but
Yeah,
you're not going to be you're not going to be turning all the lights on every night watching TV and 5 living rooms, or 5 lights going on and the kids playing 20 TVs. Like, in other words, my point is it's a lifestyle choice and you've got to adapt to it.
you do. I had a friend of mine that he probably lived off the grid for over 25 years.
Yeah.
And because I sold him metal for his roof. The reason he bought the metal on the roof was his shingles were failing, which,
Right.
yeah, but what he wanted to do was collect the heat on the metal in the wintertime
Yeah.
to help warm his house up.
Yeah.
But he had 12-volt refrigerator. He had a gas stove, propane
Exactly. Yeah.
stove, but he had his solar panels. He had his battery bank. He had his inverters. and everything he needed.
It's a whole nother lifestyle, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's
And
it. Well,
like
cool.
you look on these PBS shows above the Arctic, how those
Mhm.
people live.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, well, we only got about a minute here left. Again, just solar doesn't make sense for everyone, but it could be for some of you, and it's fun
Yes,
to
it
talk
is.
about and fun to learn about. And so, again, we're recording this on Thursday before the storm hits, so we don't know what we're getting right now, but hopefully everyone's staying warm and staying safe. And again, got those carbon monoxide detectors out. They're not hooking their generators back up to the grid and keeping it safe that way. So. Well, Randy, thanks for joining me, and I do hope you stay warm and safe, and enjoy the kids and the snow days, the remote days that you've had to endure with the grandkids. Are you a little bit smarter?
No, I've been working. You know, uh, a contractor never gets slack.
Uh huh. Randy's at home playing video games, and the kids are in the grandkids are in the living room doing schoolwork. Couldn't believe it. But anyway, Uh, anyway, Randy, I hope you stay warm. Hope you stay safe. And yeah, maybe we can get in live for the next show, but we're glad we can get this recorded show out. We appreciate all the
Hey,
listeners out there. So
thank you for spending the time. Let's doing it.
that's it. That's it. Well, thanks again. And Randy, we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.